Welcome back to Light Talk, where everyday people can have paranormal and the supernatural experiences and enjoy it as just an everyday life. If you have a story you would like to share, email me at lighttalk423@gmail.com. And while you're at it, click on the like, share, and subscribe buttons and check out the website at www.lighttalkwithdana.com. And today we're going to start with our beautiful guest, and I welcome her. So go ahead and take over, and we will start the show.
Well, thank you so much, Dana, for having me on your show. And I want to say hello to all the listeners. I love this platform because it's all about paranormal and all the things that I love to talk about. So, a little bit about myself is that I've been like more public view into the business since like late 2020. And I'm more like a cosmic avatar type activator, quantum purpose, activator and a cosmic channeler. And I've experienced so much paranormal growing up. I mean, I love to talk about it with other people as well when they share their stories, because where I live right now, I live in Mount Shasta, which is all about paranormal too. And I love to talk to the locals and ask them questions like, what have you experienced? And I get all these stories from people. So it's just like really fascinates me, some of the stories that they share. And personally, I've had my own as well that, I would love to share here as well with all of you.
Yeah, and we'll welcome you for doing that. Yeah, this is what it's all about. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
welcome.
thank you. Yeah, so I mean, growing up for me, I've always I didn't really feel like I fit in because I was always so different from like everybody. Didn't matter where I went, it was always like I feel like really different. Like I wasn't of this world, and I'm sure there's many people who really feel that way, but they're kind of like hesitant to like say, because being afraid of being judged a certain way. And I get it because I was there myself and I kept myself hidden like pretty much in the mystical closet, you know. And I would keep things to myself, certain experiences. I would share them with some of my closest of friends, really private. Now it's just like I don't really care, what anybody thinks because I think where we are at the planet is that our consciousness is expanding a lot more than before. And so I think now the abnormal has become normal. Like so yeah, but anything you want to talk about, like for me, like experiences with like ghosts was, something I grew up with, seeing them like just as I see you, Dana, like looking at you, like that's exactly how they look to me. Like they really like materialize, in front of me. But growing up, it kind of freaked me out.
Well, I'm
So I kind of,
sure.
yeah, I kind of turned it off. So but they appear, in dreams and like all this other, and I sense them too, that they're close by or they're watching me.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me about some of them that you've seen, some of these ghosts. We'll start with that and kind of what have you seen? How did you feel? How did you realize it was a ghost instead of
Yeah.
person when you're seeing it so real, like when it's materials so
Yeah.
life?
So when the most clearest instance that I remember is like when one of my uncles who had just tragically been murdered actually. And so he appeared, we were at a grocery store with my parents, and I saw him very clearly as he was just standing there. He was still wearing the clothes that he was, that he had for the funeral. But he was just like staring at me and watching me. And I looked over and I didn't really have much of a reaction. I was just excited to see him. But I was a kid, I was like 4 years old. As a kid, you kind of don't have that, filter or whatever, like, and so I was telling my mom, I was like, look, it's uncle. It's standing right there. I was pointing right where he was standing. And my mom looks over in the aisle. She's like, there's nobody there. And so that's when I realized, like, oh, not everybody can see like what I'm seeing here. But yeah, so then from there, as like growing up, I would see sometimes like shadow figures, and as I grew up, it kind of like freaked me out a little bit. And I think because when we start to grow up, we kind of phase out of that, child innocence of like those filters, and we get to like too much of the ego steps in and doubt and all this other stuff. And so I kind of turned it off, but they didn't stop visiting me. I mean, they would come in through like dreams. Like my uncle would always come visit me in the dream, and I would get, like all this information from him. I would have conversations with him. And I guess that's the safest way for them to like really get in touch with us, with a lot of the people who are beyond the veil. To when they want to get in touch with us, they'll talk to us through dreams mostly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have my dreams are more, I believe, more like meanings. There's a message in my dreams more
Mhm.
than visitations,
Yeah, yeah. So
which is still kind of the same thing, but it's, yeah, I
yeah,
guess something like that.
yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah, it's almost like in the dream, I'm almost like serving like a medium in a way. And it's not that I'm calling them or asking them to show up. Like I've had other instances where I had some closest friends who would just die all of a sudden, right? Like say a bike accident, I had someone just die like that, tragically. And so, we were all like so sudden, we didn't get a chance to like really say anything to him or like just very surprising like that. So we were like pretty sad about amongst the friends. And that night I dreamt with him. He came to my dream and he's like, I'm okay. So basically he was saying that I'm okay where I'm at, and everything is fine. um so that just got me by surprise, and I started noticing this trends that people were communicating with me, like in the dreams they would show up. Sometimes they would just be standing in crowds and not saying anything. It's like, so it's just all sorts of like, phases of dreams that they would appear in. So it's just what I've noticed a trend. Other instances I've sensed them by my bed, which I'm like, if you're gonna stand here, maybe you should like, I hope you're nice, like,
Yeah.
otherwise go away.
Right. Right. I always ask for the light, I always
Mhm.
ask for only the light can appear and only
Yes.
the light can be a part
Yeah.
of whatever I'm doing at the time.
Yeah, and it's so
Yeah.
important, right, that we keep ourselves protected all the time, like visualizing the white light around us. I use a lot of Archangel Michael as well. I've had him like come and help me. Like when I went to Sedona, there's a lot more paranormal activity around there too. If it's not ghosts, then it's like our friends in the sky.
Yeah.
But I've had encounters where I had like shadow figure appear in one of the hotel room, and I did see like the door actually open. It was some kind of shadow figure, but it freaked me out. So I just went under my covers and I was like, "Where's Archangel Michael?"
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Please show up now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
It's kind of funny because I had a visitation from the Grays.
mm-hmm,
And then they followed me to my current home, and in the current home, I saw them or felt them a few times, and then I saw a shadow, like you're saying.
mm-hmm.
And after that, I did kind of what you did. It's like, okay, oh, it's time to smudge,
Yeah, right.
So, so I went around, I smudged my whole house, and I haven't seen either one of them since. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's really cool how you have Archangel Michael, and I kind of have the grays that are protecting me, and
Protecting
it's
you.
really pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that you have them. Yeah, there's times in my room where I'm like laying down, I was like, I kind of sense there might be some extraterrestrials in here, like hiding in the corner, in the dark. Because that's when they usually like to come out, is like when it's the middle of the night, like around 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. when most people are sleeping.
Mm, right.
And I think that's the only time they could really interact with us in that way. Um, so I've asked, to have like the good ones to, it's okay that they can come and visit. But I don't really care for the ones who are trying to do harm.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. I'm
Yeah.
with you. I think most of us are, unless we're into that side of all of this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah. So, can you explain some of the ETs that you've seen?
So when my first visit in Mount Shasta, I had my own like little paranormal experience. Like coming in, first of all, I was greeted by Tellus, it's the city under the mountain. High Priest Adama, for those who don't know, is the leader of Tellus. And I knew right away that, he really was welcoming me because I really felt it in the heart very strong. It was so strong that even my friends felt it who were driving.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it was like pretty funny. It was like, oh my God, because my friend was driving. He's like, oh my God, I've never felt such a tremendous bond that you two have. I was like, oh, you're feeling that too?
So they must be into all of this too,
Yeah,
your
they're pretty
friends.
open
Okay.
to it, but I think he was just surprised of the connection that just came in like very strong. And I felt it in my heart. I mean, I was in tears and I was just really surprised how sensitive he was that he picked up on it too. And I thought that was pretty cool. It's like I don't even have to explain to him what I felt like.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is really cool. So there must have been a really strong
Yeah,
bond
it
there.
was super
Uh,
strong. And I knew that he does exist, that he's definitely under the mountain in the city. I've had like many connections with him in that way. Now that I live here, it feels like to me like coming back home because they are my home. They're part of me. Like a lot of them is a mixture of like Lemurian and other like star beings as well that exist there that I've seen like different or that I've sensed, the kind that are amongst the Telosians. Some of them Palladians and the Syrians, and the Lyrans as well. There's even like dragons and like unicorns. So all the creatures that you thought were myth, or like extinct or whatever, they're real.
yeah.
The more people I sensed them at the lake, the energy of them, like I sensed Sasquatch a lot, in the mountain when I'm like hiking. I've sensed, that they're watching 'cause they're very interdimensional. They phase in and out through the different portals and stuff, which is why people don't see them so much. Um, but that first day, that I came in, I'm having like this really amazing time, like being greeted right. And that night, when I was like sitting outside having a picnic with my friends, in one of the parks, I sensed that there were these extraterrestrial beings that were watching me, most specifically me. And so I was like, well, I wonder if my friend's picking this up, but I guess he didn't pick that one up.
Oh,
So, but then I thought maybe
not for
I'm
him.
just like overthinking it or over imagining something, like maybe I'm not seeing it right or something. But that night, though, they did appear in my dream, and it felt like it was so crystal clear that they were actually not very nice, beings, that they were actually trying to like harm me. And it felt like they had grasped me, and it felt like they were like sucking the energy out of me. And so it was like a nightmare, and I was really trying to break free from it. But the only one I could think of right away, and I said it instantly, and I didn't even finish the sentence when I said Archangel Michael. And as soon as I said that, I snapped out of it and I woke up. But like,
We
and
got
it was like,
away from him.
yeah, it was like
Nice.
2 a.m. in the morning, so it was like,
Mhm.
it's usually when a lot of weird activity can happen too, it's like around that time. So, I mean, I was just like, I was a bit shaken up by it because it was very vivid. It felt very real to me. Um, it took me a while to like even go back to sleep, in that sense. But in that moment that I was awake, I could sense that there were like different portals that were being opened, throughout the mountain in the area and all this other stuff. And so what I was sensing, like these, I don't know what kind of beans they were, but they didn't look like the grays or anything like that. So I know like some people have like bad experiences with the grays.
Right, right, right. I'm the
uh,
opposite of
yeah.
that, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I
uh,
know you're the
yeah,
opposite. You're very
yeah.
fortunate because like that they're protecting you.
Uh-huh.
Um, Yeah, but
Yeah.
with my experience with those extraterrestrial beings, for that instant, that ever since then I have, emphasized always keeping myself protected and having asking my star family, the ones who are, here also protecting us, because we all have our own star family who are watching us as well. So I always ask them to always keep an eye out on me. and guarding me, and also like the angelic protection energy as well. There's been times when I've been like hiking on the mountain, all of a sudden I sense the energy of like the Syrian. It's almost like I have this galactic antenna or something sending a signal, right? Like, oh, I know you guys are there. And it's
Yeah.
like, let me see. It's almost we're up in space somewhere near the Earth, but they were like invisible. And so I would sense that they were watching. So it's just like those really interesting instances, of being on a mountain. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of interesting paranormal stuff that happens on a mountain itself. I've sensed, like I mentioned, Sasquatch there, like watching as well. But they're
Yeah.
benevolent. That's what I sense, benevolent energy from them. So
That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm getting ready to take the weekend up in the mountains. And where this one spot is, I saw a tree that was pushed over, it almost looks like. So I'm going to see if I can contact them, see if
Ooh,
it was them. So I'm excited. I'm ready to,
yeah. Which
yeah.
mountain is it?
It's in Colorado. It's actually at a Christian camp,
Hmm.
summer camp. So we're gonna go help get it ready for the weekend or for the summer for the
Mm-hmm.
kids. And yeah, so I'm gonna check out that tree and
Yeah.
see if I can connect with them.
Oh, that's exciting. So I really
Yeah,
just love mountains in general, especially like the mountains in Colorado.
yeah,
Um, they have like their own energy, their own vibe. So that
yeah,
should be really exciting. I feel like a lot of our star family and friends, star beings hang out by the mountains.
yeah,
Um, yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's beautiful place for them. And I think this one here, this camp that I'm talking about was on there was a fire a few years back, and I I really think they helped protect that property.
Oh, I
I
believe
I
it.
think they helped it. So I want to go up and try and connect with them and say thank you and all of that for
Oh,
protecting
that's
it
so
because it's a
nice.
beautiful area. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm
there is
excited.
there is this I think it's Close Encounter the fifth kind or something. I think it's like called um Close Encounter CE5 or something like that. Have you heard of it?
Yeah,
Yeah, where people like go to actually do like actual intentional meditation to connect with the star beings. They do a lot of that here on the mountain. There's groups of people that go up and actually do that to establish contact with the benevolent, star beings, and just, have that nice contact with them to either say hello or, thank you for
right,
things. So yeah, so that's something that, most of us can do actually for anybody listening who wants to do that. Just sending out like a nice message of meditation, like a nice intention to them would also establish that, connection with your own star family as well. Start getting in contact with them because I feel like disclosure is getting close, for like, well, disclosure is happening to individuals right now,
right,
but at a collective, I feel like that's going to start to ramp up at some point. And then we'll get into like the open contact where, I mean, they have to kind of ease it in somehow. Otherwise, because our nervous system, I don't know if it can handle so much shock.
right, right. Because it's kind of scary at first, you know. I mean, not at least when I saw him, it wasn't like running away terrified, like get a
Mhm.
torch or something like that, you know. It was just like, whoa, you're different.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
like, whoa, that's
Well,
not
when you
right.
see the grays, they look very different.
Right. Right. So it's like, oh wait, this is just something different. I'm not sure about this, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Um, Yeah, so I would see like having easing in just, a bit would help with the shock of the
Right.
nervous system. That's why I think, maybe the first context would be the ones kind of look more like us human,
Mhm.
because because we're mixed of so many different extraterrestrial races. And that's part of the waking up, like so many star seeds out there probably don't even realize they're star seeds.
Right.
They think this is their whole life being human. I didn't realize until like much later how much of a galactic I was, like I'm like half galactic, half human. So very cosmic for sure. But it would explain a lot of things why I felt so different and
Yeah.
why, it was so fascinating for me to even like look at the stars and like have this nostalgic feeling, whenever I would look at the stars, almost like I want to go home. Like
Oh.
yeah.
Oh.
I don't feel that as much anymore as I did before, because I did so much work on myself, from like because I kept getting depressed when I was a teenager. I really felt like out of place. Even in my family, I didn't really feel like I fit in. Um, but I would get into a lot of depression, like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I can see that. I mean, I feel like I go through those little spills too, where
Hmm.
you go down and then you come up.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like a riding a wave, you go down and you come up,
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so now it's like I asked them, I want to meet my star family just so I could fly their spaceship, which is why I have this background. Feels like I'm in their spaceship right now. So
Yeah. You gotta let me know when you do so we can,
I will. Maybe I'll
I don't know.
stop by.
Okay. Yeah, you do. Let
Yeah,
me know. We'll have to get a sign so I know it's you.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know her. Wave at ya.
Right? Yeah.
Hey, you'll have to
Have you-
catch me on the way to work because I'm at work early in the morning. So
Oh,
might
okay.
have to do a drive-by viewing of you.
All right, well, keep that in mind.
All right.
Be like, hi, Dana.
I would love that. That would be so cool.
Right?
Uh, Flash your lights a special way. We'll talk afterwards for a special signal.
Right, exactly. Only you and I will know this signal.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
that would be very exciting. And do you have the the race that you would want to drive the ship? Which
The
race?
which race? Oh,
Uh,
um, hmm. I would say the Lyrens.
okay. Okay. That way, it'll give me a little idea what's going on.
Right, right,
Okay.
right. Yeah, I do feel the part of me, it's almost like this remembrance. I feel like I did fly many spaceships, maybe in some past incarnation, as these other star races, star beings, and it's almost like, when I watch like Star Wars, the movie, I see
Yeah.
these spaceships like, cool. It's like I want to fly one of those. Like you always get that little impulse, right? Like you've done something like that before. I don't know if you ever had some of those feelings.
No, not particularly that I could think of right now, anyways.
Yeah.
But
But do you
yeah.
ever like do you feel like you're the closest then with the Greys and nobody else? Like,
Well, I feel like there is a connection with the Grays. I feel like they are a very close family
mm-hmm.
member.
Yeah.
Um, a lot because they're the only ones I've seen, so I feel like that they're pretty close to me. And with the way they've been protecting me, that also gives me the idea that we are very close, you
Yeah.
know. So, but I do have had a meditation where I met up with my mom of another place,
Hmm.
and but I don't know tall whites. I don't know. I don't
Is
know
that
if
what you look like?
the
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, she was like kind of like a sandy color, but it had like a hint of orange in the sand. So it wasn't like a yellow, but it was like an orange,
Yeah.
but not quite yellow, but not quite orange. So it was kind of like a blend, but it was in
Mm.
a very deserty area.
Hmm.
No trees, mountains, but it was all sand.
Interesting. And did
Yeah.
you see yourself in that dream, or was it just her mostly?
It was just her. I was a man. So I
Yeah.
was her son and I'd just gotten home from work
Oh.
and she was just sending out telepathically um just beautiful words of love and I'm so glad you're
Yeah.
home. Welcome
Mm.
home. You're I missed you so much and you know,
Oh, that's sweet.
yeah, it was really cool. And I just don't know who she was or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the being,
Yeah,
but
it's really interesting.
yeah, we were very tall. I would say about 7 feet tall
Mm-hmm.
is my guess.
What other like races have you resonated with, like besides just the gray? Was it always just the grays?
I think pretty much, I think I'm still learning about
Mm-hmm.
that and trying to
Mm-hmm.
bring in that um
Yeah.
the energies from these guys.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
interesting. Yeah, for some reason, like with you, I don't know why I sense Arcturian. And then I also sense Andromeda. Um, because I think Andromeda was supposed to be like one of our first origins from a human species. Um, and so we just evolved somehow like Earth's orbit, where we are now. Um, but yeah, I'm getting to like know some of the different like extraterrestrial races, and so it helps me like tune in my antenna, my galactic
right,
antenna, and
right.
sensing those of like some with some other people, like what I pick up sometimes, and I don't know, like if that's something that you've ever felt like resonance with. Um,
Yeah,
but maybe look them up and see if there's anything in there that would trigger something. Like for me, I use the word trigger, but it's really activate, um, really opens us to the remembrance in a way.
yeah,
So
yeah. They all kind of I don't know, I love looking at the stars. I know nothing about the stars or anything, but I love just looking and watching them.
yeah,
It's pretty fascinating to me.
yeah,
And now just if I could see something in the sky,
yeah,
it's pretty cool. And I feel
yeah,
like I have been seeing a bunch of I've been seeing things in the sky. I'm not quite sure who, what, where, or
yeah, yeah.
anything. But I feel like it is something
Yeah,
that's not
I'm sure it is. Yeah,
human.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is. Yeah. That's why I spend like
Mm.
most of my time looking at the stars, mainly just because I wanted to escape. I was like, what am I doing here on Earth? Like
Yeah.
But yeah, I would look at the stars a lot from a nostalgic point of view, but now because like I did so much like healing in myself and I reestablished that connection, to my origins, I don't really feel so alone anymore. So now I just look at the stars because I just love to look at the stars and see if I see any of them moving around like their
Yeah.
spacecraft.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where I am. Because I've gotten
Yeah.
videos of like stars being out there, and then
Mhm.
around that star is like very light little twinklies. Like
Yeah.
almost shimmers around
Hmm.
that star. And it's like, oh, that's gotta be something.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. And what I love that the room that I have has like a skylight, in the ceiling. There's like a little window that you can actually see from the roof to the sky. So when it's dark, you could see like the stars that are shining.
Right.
But I've noticed that there have been some spacecrafts that have like gone by so fast. And I was like, there's no way that's an airplane or a satellite. It's just like
Right.
random. Just I saw it go. I was
Right.
like, oh, there's one. It's like I wish I could take a picture of it, like
No, I
or
know.
film it, like
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. So I tried as much as I can
Mm-hmm.
to try and get some
Yeah.
pictures and stuff of what I see. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard sometimes.
Yeah, they're very fast, so you have to be like moving fast with it. You probably need like really like advanced camera technology to capture that, which we don't really
Right.
have that just yet. They
Right,
do
right.
probably.
Oh,
Yeah.
so do you feel like you've been abducted or anything? Or
Yeah, so that was the other thing that I became aware of, that I have been abducted since I was a child, because since I'm so like half galactic, half human. But my agreement was with a mantis being who I feel is like family to me. And I didn't really start connecting with mantis until like last year, that I started to really sense my mantis side. And so I've been trying to put the puzzles together, because the first beings that I really felt that I resonated with were the Syrians. And then all of a sudden, like the Lyran started to get my attention. I was like, oh, I have Lyran connection too. And so, and then just recently, the mantis has been like the onion being peeled, like different layers of like remembrance that are coming
yes.
up. And so I'm starting to really sense the mantis being as being part of like an integral part of my family somehow. And I feel like they do have connections with the Lyrans somehow. So I do have a mantis being who's kind of like my bodyguard. And so she, but I had like a contract agreement with her where she would actually help me. It was almost like, is it really an abduction, or is it really like an agreement that I had with her, like an elopement type thing, where, she would take me to her spacecraft and actually make sure that she would adjust me to like stay grounded here on Earth.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to be so grounded, because I do go off sometimes into the ethers and like these other
Oh,
dimensions. And so, but she's helped me like stay adjusted to like still be a bit of a human, here.
yeah.
But on the side, like sometimes these other beings would see me, and I guess they would see that side of the galactic, and so they would abduct me, and that would be an abduction. And there was no agreement to them doing that. So then she would have to step in and actually like, tell them that they're not supposed to, and then she would remove certain implants from me that they would place. So, and I think that was part of the reason too why I experienced that when I first came to Mount Shasta, because there's just so many like different star beings around. Um, Unfortunately, some of them are not so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I've experienced. So, but yeah, so that's really my experience with that. So now, like, because originally I would get scared coming here to like Mount Shasta, like I was afraid going to sleep. But now that I know like who it is for sure, who's my bodyguard, just say her name and I know that I'm protected. It's like I have an extra layer of protection. So I don't really feel that fear as much anymore like before.
Yeah. Well, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I had a time where just fairly recently that I feel like the rays had came and gave me a download or
Hmm.
some sort of DNA upload or something
All
like that.
right.
And that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. How did that feel though, the DNA upgrade?
It was just like I really don't remember. I mean, all I know is I was just struggling on trying to form a word because I was driving.
Oh.
Yeah, I was driving and I
You
had this
imagine that
pat.
you're driving, you're getting upgraded.
I know, I know, and my poor passenger, she's all like, "Well, you're freaking out, girl," and because she noticed all these things, and all I remember is just like darkness, and I was just sitting there struggling, trying to form a word.
Wow. I'm surprised you can
And
still drive though.
I know, I don't know what was going on because I wasn't really in the car. I can kind of feel that, looking
Hmm.
back. But in that 10 to 15-second time frame or 15 to 20 second time frame, she noticed that I was driving faster than I normally do. I
Oh.
didn't drive like I normally do because
Mhm.
I typically tried to dodge the potholes or the manholes.
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing that.
Oh my God.
And she noticed that I went into like, I was zoned out. I was just like zoned. And she said my speech went very slow too. So I started talking really, you know, kind of real slow. And she thought I was just messing around, you know. And then when I was slammed back into my body, and when my eyes opened up, I go, whoa, that stop sign came up fast.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it did because I wasn't there for it.
Yeah, you must have like either projected out or like gone, teleported somehow, like through your astral
Yeah.
body. Did it feel like you were in a distance, but you were still kind of like at the wheel, you like, or,
I didn't
long
feel
distance?
anything. I didn't feel anything. I almost feel like it was just like in darkness, just darkness and struggling to say a word. I knew I was trying to have a conversation, but I
Yeah.
don't know with who. I don't know. I was just trying and
Wow.
struggling to say a word.
Fascinating.
Hmm.
Did you ever ask the Grays what that was about?
That's what I came up with was the DNA
Mhm.
upgrade. Um, so it was either I just lost it. DNA upgrade or something else. I just lost it. But
But they
yeah,
didn't say what the DNA upgrade was about, right? They didn't elaborate into details.
no,
Oh.
no details. That's all I got off of it. I was like, oh, come on.
Yeah, that's still pretty cool though. I mean, you should
Yeah,
probably still like continue to ask them. Maybe they'll reveal a little more. Maybe they just want to reveal by parts, certain information, not all at once.
yeah, yeah, possibly. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that was kind of weird, you know?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, that's really interesting. I mean, that's kind of like, that sounds like a DNA upgrade to me because that's people go through like different phases of like symptoms, when they're going through one. And one of them is going into like this extreme fatigue because there's a lot that's being integrated, energy that goes into the cells, the DNA when it's going to certain upgrades and stuff. So it requires a lot more energy. And so that's why we have a tendency to feel extremely fatigued and want to just sleep. That's when I felt like really sleepy sometimes, that I know that I'm going through some kind of integration going on, like with new energies or something. Um,
yeah. Okay. I'll have to
yeah,
keep that in mind.
yeah. It reminds me though, when you were just sharing that, a long time ago, like when I was, going through like healing and all this other stuff. And I really felt like I was with a mentor and I was telling her, it's like, I really feel there's something in my solar plexus just wants to like pop out, like the energy of it was feeling like, I don't know, some really old energy. It's an old cycle, it's an old ancestral cycle that I feel I really need to like let out and release or just break the cycle right now. And I need your assistance to like help me facilitate me, with this. So we went in and actually she was seeing exactly what I was seeing, in the inner eye vision. So we were both actually sharing the same, seeing the same thing, which is really cool, right? That I
Wow.
had somebody who could actually like follow me where where I was, seeing stuff, which gave
Right.
also extra validation, what I was seeing. And I saw that where I saw like I called in, actually I started calling in like these areas, said I want to call in the violet flame and it just showed up like that. But then I saw like Ascended Master Saint Germain pop in. I was like, oh, there's Ascended Master Saint Germain. But he
Oh,
popped in because he was facilitating with the violet flame. And
oh
so
wow.
I said, whatever this is, and this contract appeared in my hand. It was like a contract with the ancestors. And it had to do with like working super hard, and I said, I am done with this working hard pattern. This is not real. And I'm gonna break this now for myself and for my ancestors and everybody. And I threw it in the flames, and the whole flame just went like that, like
Uh-huh.
it just exploded, like and I saw like all the ancestors, all the chains with all the ancestors breaking free.
Oh,
And so
that
what, and I was like so emotional. And then in that moment, I said, I see, that I have my portal. my solar plexus, I do have a portal in my solar plexus. It activated so strong. And I saw it and I said it. And, and I said it in that moment. And so, from there, it's like she saw like this whole chain reaction of people who were breaking free from like this whole like pattern of working hard to make your worth and your value and all that. That was just an illusion. It was a contract that we had. And as soon as that released, I felt the portal in me like loosened up, and opened up more. And so,
Wow.
after we're done, with that inner vision, I told her, like, after my mentor, I said, yeah, because she said to me, I was about to tell you that your portal is active, but then Archangel Michael said, no, Monica's about to say it. Let her say it.
Oh, very awesome. Oh, that's really cool.
It's like they wanted me to see it for myself. And that's really my story the whole time is they want me to figure things out for myself. A lot of my purpose and my mission is it has to come from me. It's like they're there to guide us, like a lot of our spirit guides. But a lot of like what we seek in our purpose, we already know in ourselves because in a way we've already programmed that for us, before incarnating here. So the fact that, I went in and just figured that out for myself and seeing that, it was for me to like say it. And
Oh,
so
that is so
and
cool.
then she said that, when she saw, because she also saw those chains like breaking up like that. And she's like, well, the angels say that it's not just your family, but it's also your soul family. So it was like, because our soul family is a big part of our ancestry as well. And so I said, well, since because I told my mentor, I said, well, I consider you as part of my soul family. You tell me if you feel lighter too.
And did they?
Yes, she did. She's like, I do feel different. Like,
Very
it was
cool.
really interesting.
Cool.
But she said the angels say that you're gonna go, like, because it was on a Friday, for the whole weekend, you're gonna be probably integrating a lot of energy. So you're gonna need to like rest or, and they're gonna send like this boost of energy on like the last day when it's supposed to end. And boy, were they right. I mean, like that whole weekend,
Wow.
I must have like teleported because like my portal was active and somehow I teleported into like Sirius. And what the first being that I saw was an actual like it was a half. This is exactly what I saw. It was like a half lion head. It's a lion head person was a
Huh?
human body. So it
Huh?
was like I didn't even know that Syrians had like half half lion, half human, and I thought at that time I didn't really realize they even like had like half lion, half human in general, period. I've always
Right.
seen them like at the ancient Egyptian, how you had those figures and you have the drawings and all that of like the
Right.
half lion, like Segmet, the goddess.
Right.
She's a half lioness, half human looking, humanoid,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
So I thought
Right.
I never really thought anything of it, but when I saw him, I was like, oh, they're real. Because he appeared like so clear, like so
Uh-huh.
vividly clear, like he was in front of me. Like I must have like really teleported. And for that whole weekend, I felt like I was long distance. So when I would interact with people, because I went to a 5K, it's like maybe I shouldn't have gone to a 5K because I wasn't completely all there in my body. You know, I was still up in the galaxy, in the galactic. I was in Sirius, I was in Lyra. I was like, connecting with these dragons from these other like planets and stuff in Lyra. And I saw like all these different pyramids there, and these planets, and it was like super amazing. So I'm like having a travel, like some kind of astral travel going on. And at the same time, over here, like interacting or talking to somebody, but they sound like they're long distance. I was like, do I sound like I'm long distance? But
Yeah.
they didn't notice that, there was stuff like going on internally. And so the last day though, like the angel said, at that point, I actually felt like extreme fatigue and I felt like all this like light code of upgrades were happening, DNA upgrades. I said I have to lay down. So I lay down and as I closed my eyes, like all this like light language in my head, like a download of light language. And I felt like
Wow.
all of it was like upgrading me. And it was like, whoa, it was like that was quite a journey.
Wow. That would be something. So I'm curious, how did you feel? I mean, when your body is traveling like that, or your soul is traveling like that, and your body is still here, how did you feel? I mean, yeah, did you feel
Yeah.
like you were completely out of your body, or did you come back in like missing time, or how did
Oh,
that
there was
react
like
to you?
I was still kind of in my human body, but it felt like I was long distance. You know, like when you call somebody on the phone, right? Like long distance, they sometimes sound like they're way out there, you know. And that's how people when I would hear them talking to me, it's like they sound like they're long distance. That's because that's probably my astral body is like way out there in the galaxy somewhere. So yeah, I don't know how I managed. Like I think, you know, part of me was like, maybe I shouldn't have gone to that 5K.
Yeah. See,
Oh
I've
my
had,
God.
yeah. So that's really, oh, I'm like trying to kind of think, because when I've had my missing time,
Mhm.
it's usually when I'm driving, and that scares me.
Oh, okay. Really? No, I
Yeah.
didn't have any missing time though, which is pretty funny. I know that I was still like in my body somehow, you know. They talk about like, you know how they have the silver cord that kind of like when you sleep, right, you kind of get out of your body and but you don't necessarily remember. But in this case, I was like in real time, like simulation, like going on, like stuff going on. It was like I know that I'm here in this galaxy over here in this planet and but I'm still here on Earth in this human body. It was like I don't know, it was like beyond me, right? That's like one of the most like amazing experiences I've ever had, you know, that was very galactic and you know, teleportation at a whole other level. So I know
Yeah.
like the portal is like active in my solar plexus. I can sense when there's other portals, you know, through my solar plexus. So ever since then I've recognized, you know, what's going on like
Wow. So I just got this picture of you like being tethered down, but yet your soul is like a
Yeah.
little balloon flying up
Yeah,
into the sky.
that's kind of how it felt though, you know? I was just having like a blast with my star family and these other planets, like interacting with them and like pretty much having a party because like I really felt like I was energy drunk in a way, you know?
Yeah, very awesome. Oh, that's so cool. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful.
so that's why like I really emphasize a lot of like our patterns and what we do to really break the cycles. I mean, you will be surprised what gets activated, what comes up for you, what resurfaces out, you know. That's what I call being a superhuman. Like
All that energy. I can feel the energy off of you. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, you have the energy for sure, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, that is so amazing and so awesome.
Yeah, so that was that's you know, that's I was just remembering that when you were telling that story. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that experience, you know. Because like for me, like, you know, we were talking about the ghost, right, that materialized, but I did see an actual star being that was actual materialized, you know, right in front of me, like you know, it's like he was smiling. He was like, say hello, like, hey, you came back, you know, welcome back home. Like,
Oh, yeah. And
but at that
that's
point, it's like, I didn't even know that they were actually like, you know, half lion and half humanoid, like, you know, half human body. I didn't really think anything of it until like I saw it. I was like, oh, they really are real.
yeah. I think so differently about the myths about all of this.
Yeah,
I think so different now.
yeah, yeah. What's
Yeah.
funny, like I've never told that story that I was at the 5K. I was like, why did I go? It was part of me because I'm like, well, I already told him I was gonna go, you know, so it's meeting up with the other people. But then when I was there, it's like maybe it wasn't a good idea.
Right. Maybe I should have played sick or something. That's really, really super cool. Yeah. Geez,
Yeah.
that's just crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. And I was like,
Yeah. Well, you know what they say, the truth is stranger than fiction, right?
yes. Absolutely. And oh, from what I've seen and experienced, yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah. I've had people ask me if I watch scary movies, and I'm like, no, uh-uh. And they're like, but you're into paranormal and everything. I go, yeah,
Yeah.
but I think movies are more scarier than the real thing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree they are. They over exaggerate, but
Mhm.
when you deal with real life like this, like nah, when you look at scary movies, like yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I haven't
Yeah.
experienced a whole lot. I mean, I
Mm.
don't feel like I have, but when I go to talk, I got this huge list, but it's just crazy. It's just crazy, all of this stuff. I love
Yeah, I
it.
mean, there's a lot of paranormal stuff out there, and I'm sure that so many are experiencing as well. But this is our time to really just come out and say it. You're not you're not crazy.
You're not crazy.
Right?
Exactly. Exactly. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
We're not crazy. We're just experiencing.
pretty much, yeah. But I'm
Yeah.
pretty much like a walking paranormal, I would say.
I don't know. Maybe we both are if we're all going
Yeah,
elsewhere
right?
and still here.
Yeah. So,
Ah, okay. Wow. Our time is almost up. Can you believe that? See, it went
wow.
fast.
In an hour. Wow.
Yeah, it goes so fast. Well, I don't love it because I want to talk so much more. But yeah. So is there anything you'd like to say to kind of close things up?
Yeah, I mean, as we're getting ready for like big open contact, just know that, just keep your minds open and maybe just slowly start to get familiar with like, I'm talking to the listeners here, whoever wants to explore some more, about the different star races out there, you can look up, some of the information or really get in contact with your own self and ask star family to maybe contact you in a soft gentle way, maybe they'll show up in your dream and like and give you some of the little more answers and connections with that. So that's my advice for those who are interested in like having some more contact of your own, personal contact with others. So yeah, they're real.
They are real, for sure, for sure. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I had such a great time. It's just love these stories, and yours is one of the pretty unique ones.
Yeah. Yeah, I had some really quite adventures, so thank you so much for having me on your show and for being so open to listening to my stories, and my experiences of paranormal.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to listen to someone's stories, and each and every one of them helps somebody else out, and knowing they're not
Yeah,
crazy and
exactly. You're not crazy.
they're not crazy.
Yes,
Well, thank you so much for being on the show, and you're more than welcome to come back. I mean,
I
it's
would love
always
that.
fun to have more stories. It's always fun.
Yes,
Anyone out there that has a story that you would like to share, email me at lighttalk423@gmail.com. And while you're at it, click on the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And don't forget to check out my website at lighttalkwithdana.com. And we will see everyone later. Bye.
thank you.